This video is going to be a demo of the JTM-45 kit that I just built, made by Valvestorm. And I'm going to try to do as little talking as possible and let the music do the talking. The circuit is mostly stock, but I've done just a few mods to it that are tonal mods. And I want to go over those real quick in case people are wondering how this might sound different from your JTM-45. So the first mod is that I added a switchable cathode bypass cap for the first gain stage. It switches between the stock 250 microfarad value and the 0.68 microfarad, which trims a lot of low end, which I think is necessary for this amp actually. Second mod, again to trim the low end, is the two coupling caps that are post V1 for both the normal and high treble channel. Have been reduced from 0.022 down to 0.01 microfarads, again to trim low end. Another low end trimming mod is the post phase inverter coupling caps, trimmed from 0.1 microfarad down to 0.022 microfarad. And then finally, there's a master volume mod where I added a post phase inverter master volume, and this is the so-called rich mod. And then one other note, I removed the treble cap that goes across the terminals of the treble control because this amp has plenty of high end on the high treble channel, didn't need any more. The recording setup that I used is shown here. So basically the guitar goes into the amp. The speaker output of the amp goes into the Captor X, which is a combination speaker emulator and attenuator. I'm actually just using it as a speaker emulator here. Then I'm sending both outputs from the Captor X into my recording interface, which is the Motu M2. I'm recording in stereo, but most of what I'm doing, I think, is mono, so it doesn't really affect the tone at all. There's a couple of tracks near the end of the demo that do use some stereo effects, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. And that goes into Logic Pro 11. And with that, the rest is just going to be audio. I have cues to describe what each of the tracks are, so go ahead and have a listen, and you can use the chapter markers to jump to whichever samples you want to hear. In most of the cases, I play each sample, which is a different guitar part with different amp settings, and I do it through 3 different cabinet emulations just so you can actually get an idea of how much the cabinet and speaker really affects the tone. I think that's pretty useful since a lot of demos will only show you something through one speaker. You might think this is the way the amp sounds, but as you're going to see in this video, you change speakers, it's pretty much as big of an effect as putting in, a different amp on the tone. One other note about the Captor X, as you can see from the UI, it has a lot of different capabilities in it. For the most part, I'm only using the cabinet and speaker selector with the mic selections and just a little bit of reverb, and that's so that I can give you like the most pure impression of what the amp just through a cabinet sounds like. There are a few samples near the end where I do show off a few of these other features, but for the most part, this was intended to be a demo of the amp, not really a demo of the Captor X features. All right, and with that, I'm going to shut up and let you listen. I want to jump in here and just add a quick note. So sample 8 here is going to be a demonstration of how the master volume affects the tone. So I'm going to have 2 runs through the exact same part that I play. I am actually playing it twice. It's not looped or anything like that. The first time I have the amp set with the master volume all the way up, which would be as if there is no master volume. And then the second run through, I've got the master all the way down at about 2, which is quite a bit of attenuation. I think it's at least minus 20 dB. And then I level adjust things back so that it's the same level for your listening. And you can hear what the master volume does on the tone. I think I hear a little bit of low end loss when the master volume is set low, but I'll let you give a listen and be the judge. Well, I couldn't resist the urge to compare what the spectrum looked like for the 2 different settings of master volumes. So this here is a plot of the frequency response of the 2 parts that I played. I did this using the spectrum option in Logic and then exporting it and overlaying the 2 charts. And the differences are actually much less than I thought they would be. It's really only about a dB or so, maybe a couple of dB difference, and it looks like the biggest difference is in the mid-range, sort of between, say, a couple of hundred hertz and 1 kilohertz. The master volume at maximum has a little bit higher mids than when the master volume is lower, whereas the low master volume has a little bit more in the, say, 2 to 5 kilohertz range and a little bit more in the under 60 hertz range, although you probably can't hear very much of that. The point that I marked with the asterisk is probably just an outlier in how I played that take. I probably hit the pick a little bit harder or something like that, so I wouldn't say that has anything to do with the master volume setting. It's just sample to sample difference. So that's kind of good news to know that even as you bring the master volume pretty far down, it doesn't change the tonal characteristics of the amp much. And finally, a quick comment about the last couple of samples that I've got for you. So sample 9, which is coming up now, is me playing through the JTM-45 again, but this time I'm actually using some of the additional features in the Captor X. So it has this really cool twin tracker capability where you can set it to actually give the effect of double tracking, and you can even control how much it splits and changes like the cohesiveness between the two tracks. So I'm demoing that for you on sample 9 just for fun, so you can hear what a more produced sound from this amp might sound like. All right, everybody, thanks very much for listening. I hope this was useful and that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the video or about the amp or about any of the ways that I record my samples or even questions about the Captor X, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, see you soon. I've got more demos to come. Thanks very much. Have a good one.